I'm Fraser Mitchell, and I'm a palaeoecologist, which means I study the ecology of the past. And that's useful because it means we can study how ecosystems change over long time periods and how they might respond to things like climate change in the past. And so we can use this technique to study long-lived organisms like trees over multiple generations, so we can see how they've changed over thousands of years. And of course, that would not be possible through direct observation. So this is really the research realm of Time Lords. And one place that we gather our data from are lake sediments, because lakes accumulate sediment slowly over time, and so they act a little bit like environmental monitoring stations. And so, for example, in Ireland, at the end of the last glaciation 15,000 years ago, lakes started accumulating sediment. And so any plants that were growing around those lakes would have produced pollen, and some of that pollen would have fallen in the lake and got incorporated into those lake sediments. And so by microscopically examining those lake sediments, we can record the vegetation in the past. And then if we move up or down through that lake sediment, we can see how these environments have changed over time. So it's really like reading an archive. And so examples of the sort of research that we're carrying out in my lab at the moment, we have one project where we're gathering data from multiple sites across Europe, and we can use that information to track tree migrations across Europe and see how that responded and how it reacted to climate changes in the past. In another project, we're looking at how much charcoal is accumulated in lake sediments, and from that we can reconstruct past fire regimes. And we can use that information to predict how climate change will impact on fire regimes in the future, and how that will also then impact on the natural environment. And one project I'm particularly involved with at the moment is going back to the time before the last glaciation. So that's going back over 100,000 years ago and reconstructing the vegetation communities then. And that's relevant because in northwest Europe back then, the annual temperature was about 2 degrees warmer than it is today. And that's significant because predictions for future global warming suggest that we may hit that 2-degree temperature rise within the next 50 years. And so we need to plan how that will impact on our natural environment. And so my research provides a model for that scenario.